Alright guys, Global has gotten a data download, giving us more content for the 9th anniversary and some long awaited EZAs. From this data download today, we have got in the database the Dokkan Awakening for the free-to-play Fizz LR Pajama Beerus, the Int First Form Freezer Awakening from the story event, the free-to-play Gogeta that is given out in gift boxes for the 9th anniversary. We're getting an EZA literally at reset, I'm pretty sure. New sub EZAs, which are Bardock and Guinea, and then also Paragus and BROLY. We're finally going to be caught up with JP, I'm pretty sure, when it comes to World Tournament with the 51st World Tournament, which means we're getting new Awakenings and EZAs with that as well. We're also getting new events and new stages of events with Stay Strong, Superheroes of Tomorrow, Extremely Intense Saiyan Clash, Stage 81 of Super Battle Road, which is a Legendary Existence, Stage 58 of ESBR, which is Terrifying Conquerors, Dokkan Ultimate Thrilling Battle Stage 2, Stages 4 to 6 with Supreme Magnificent Battle, Frieza's Endless Ambition, Stages 4 to 5, Super Warrior Memorial, which is the Goku and God of Destruction event, Stages 4 and 6, Burst Mode for True Evil Resurrected from Hell, which is one of the Dokkan events, I'm pretty sure, for Frieza. The EZA for BROLY, CHEELAI and Lemo. I know a lot of people were wondering when this was coming. The EZA for LRSSBK and SSB Vegeta, Baton Battle 33, Support Memory, Trade Jewel and Title Screen. Now I am going to go through when these are coming and then also the details for BROLY, CHEELAI and Lemo, two-side EZAs and Blue Boys. I'm not going to go through the EZA details and Awakenings for the World Tournament units just because I'm not overly bothered by them, just because most of the time a lot of them aren't that good. Don't get me wrong, there's some good ones in them, but there's usually only a few in a massive bunch. So if you do want to look at those yourself, I will leave the link down in the description for Dokkan Info and also the Twitter link for Proton himself. So after getting this data download, in about 4 days time, we're going to get Blue Boys, which probably along the lines of, if not a few days afterwards, we'll probably be getting part 2 of the celebration, where we're getting Beast and also Carnival LR Gamma 1 and 2. In a day's time, or a day and 10 hours, we're going to be getting the Awakenings and EZAs for the World Tournament units, which is Kale Caulifla, Chi-Chi, Gohan, Base Vegito, Tien. Tomorrow, we're literally getting the Awakenings for the free-to-play First Form Frieza and also the free-to-play LR Beerus, or Pajama Beerus. We'll also be getting an EZA as well. And then tomorrow, we're also getting the EZA for BROLY, CHEELAI and Lemo, so we'll be covering them and doing content around them, and also the sub-EZAs for Paragus and BROLY and Bardock and Guinea. And then literally at reset, we're also going to get the EZA for the free-to-play Gogeta that was given out for the 9th anniversary itself. We're going to go through the details for the EZA of BROLY, CHEELAI and Lemo, who probably end up being one of the strongest EZAs in the game, probably the best or one of the best supports in the entire game as well. So starting off on 12 key, they will greatly raise attack and defense by 50% for 1 turn, cause cloth damage to the enemy and greatly lower attack. On 18 key, will massively raise attack and defense by 100% for 1 turn, cause mega cloth damage to the enemy. They'll get attack and defense plus 30% per key sphere obtained. They'll also gain an additional attack and defense plus 10% per key sphere obtained. So if you do pick up a ton of key spheres, or Fizz key spheres specifically, that is a total of 40% attack and defense per key sphere obtained, which is very nice. They do gain an additional key plus 2 per key sphere obtained. And then here's where all the support comes in. So if you get AG or Strength key spheres, all allies will gain key plus 2 and attack plus 39%. If you get Tech or Int key spheres, all allies will gain key plus 2 and defense plus 39%. If you gain Rainbow key spheres, all allies gain key plus 2, attack and defense plus 15%. Then on super attack, they'll gain an additional attack plus 39%. Then they're guaranteed to launch an additional super attack, and then movie bosses or super boss category allies will gain damage reduction plus 10% when key is 24, which is also another reason why they get key plus 2 per key sphere obtained. But this is such a nice buff. Yes, you may not reach it, but if you do, this is why not only are they a great addition because they're just a very good unit overall and an amazing support, but they're also a very good unit to go on movie bosses and especially super bosses, with of course LR BROLY being the lead for that. But then also, I know it's not a lot by itself, that 10% damage reduction, but if you get it coupled with other defensive mechanics like guard or units that already have damage reduction, or maybe just a ton of defense, it can make a difference. It could potentially, maybe not save a run, but it can help out a lot, especially with the numbers enemies are putting out nowadays, and we're going to see that with the latter stages of Supreme Magnificent Battle. The thing about it this way, you have LR BROLY, you have him transformed, his domain's active, he's buffed, he has 500-600k defense depending on dupes, he has guaranteed guard. It's only 10% damage reduction, but imagine that 10% damage reduction and how much of a difference coupled with all of those things in slot 1 pre-super. It'll only make a little bit of a difference post-super because he gets so much defense because he super attacks so many times. But it would help then as well. Then imagine that just 10% damage reduction on top of what he's already got, along with guard. Imagine units that already have 30, 40, 50, maybe even 60% damage reduction. An extra 10% taking them to 40, 50, 60, 70, maybe even 80% damage reduction. It's a little, but it can make a bit of a difference. It can be a bit of a saver. And that guaranteed additional is very nice as well, especially when you consider the fact 100% on 18, additional an extra 50. If you have dupes, that's 250% attack and defenses. That's essentially 200% attack and defense in one turn, which is nuts. They then get an additional 39% attack on super. I know I've already done that bit. They have a 50% chance to dodge, just flat out, right? But then if you do get 7 or more key spheres, they will have a guaranteed dodge, which is so nice. Can you imagine? You know, you're playing out a rotation. You're like, oh, the unit in slot 1 can get in 7 key spheres. They're on the rotation. You slide them in slot 1. You get a support out of one of these. Cool. You get your 7 key spheres, so you let them go in slot 1. Yes, a unit like LR BROLY could go there. There's a handful of other units that could go there, but you have guaranteed dodge. So no matter what, if a super attack is coming pre-super, post-super, it doesn't matter. They're going to dodge it. You slide them in slot 1 for that rotation. You don't have to really worry about anything. It is such a good, I was going to say mechanics, not mechanic, but it can just make rotations play out so smooth, so smoothly. So I really do like that a lot. Of course, you may not get that all the time. They are their own orb changer, but they are caveats attached to it, which is they'll randomly change key spheres of certain types of fizz key spheres when HP is 60% or less. Very specific. Which I don't think is overly difficult, but again, I think you're going to see that more so with the latter stages. If you do run the Boo units a lot, which I do, there's a ton of healing with those. Or if you bring like Gogeta with you and you transform him, that's a lot of healing you have for 4 turns. So you can kind of force it a little bit to get this a lot more often. But there's a reason why there's a HP condition attached to the orb changing. They'll also change all key spheres to fizz key spheres when HP is 39% or less, which pretty much guarantees this, and also a ton of healing, and then gives them a bit of a buff for the rest of the time, just because you do get so many orbs to essentially nuke. Kind of similarly to the type support EZAs, but as I said, it pretty much guarantees them dodge at that point if things getting a little bit techy and your HP is down at 39% or less. So as I said, not only they're EZA very good, they're a great addition to super bosses, especially in the meantime while global do wait for, say, God of Destruction Topo, LR Cell Max, and now LR Jiren, which JP are about to get or just got. And then also just a great addition to help out BROLY as well. Not that he needs the help, but just it's a good addition to help him out. Just have an extra like solid unit on a rotation on a team that needs a little bit of help at the moment. Again, in a much better spot than say when JP first got him, but it does still need a little bit of help on global while we are waiting for those extra super boss units. Then we have the sub EZAs coming with BROLY, CHEELAI, and Lemo. BROLY and Paragus will stack defense by 30%, cause supreme damage to the enemy and lower attack. They will get attack and defense plus 150 and a 50% chance of launching an additional super attack when performing a super attack. They'll have damage reduction by 26% within the same turn of each super attack performed, which is very nice, which is why you hope this procs. You want to go additional in the passive, and then when you're facing pure Saiyans or superhero category enemies, you also want that to proc as well, because then you're getting a total of what? An extra one that's what, 52%? An extra one if you're facing those specific enemies, that takes you to 68. No, not 68. Maths. That takes you to 78%, I'm pretty sure. Yes, 78%. And then if the additional pops, then you pretty much got 100% damage reduction. So they do actually have the potential to be very, very good with all that damage reduction. You just have to hope that you're being blessed with that coin flip chance more often than not. Then they also support Pure Saiyans or joined forces with category allies with Key +3, attack and defense plus 50%, which they're a slot 3 unit, so getting this is fine. The fact they don't have no start of turn attack and defense is fine, because they're a slot 3 unit. AoEs in certain events may catch them, but just don't use them there. That will help out also Broly as well with the support. It will help out probably most of some of the strongest units in the game, because a lot of them are Pure Saiyan units. There's a lot of good joined forces units. EZA Blue Boys being one of them, BROLY, CHEELAI, and Lemo being another. So definitely can help out those guys. And then they'll get Key +3 and an additional attack +180 and a 50% chance of launching additional super, as I said, when there's a Pure Saiyan enemy or superhero category enemy, which pretty much the entirety of Supreme Magnificent Battle is. So even though that event is incredibly difficult, or will be eventually with all the stages, it's actually their best bet. That is one of their best events at using them there, especially if you get lucky enough to get all the additionals to get all that damage reduction as well. So you do want to go full additional with them. Then we have the sub EZA for Bardock and Guinea. They will massively raise attack and defense by 100% on super, cause supreme damage to the enemy, and raise allies attack and defense by 22% for 2 turns. Self-excluded, unfortunately, but for 2 turns is very nice, because typically you're probably going to have them in slot 3. So with that being 2 turns, this effective for, it does mean the following rotation do benefit from their support as well, which is very nice, rather than have it for 1. They do start the turn with attack and defense plus 122%. They recover 22% HP when HP is 50% or less at the start of turn, and will gain Key +4 and an additional attack and defense plus 122% when there's an ally whose name includes Goku on the team, which is one of the easiest things you can do, because Goku's the main character. He's forever getting new units, whether that's with him, other units, Vegeta. It is so easy to have a Goku unit on the team, or just a unit that includes the name Goku. They'll also gain an additional attack and defense plus 122% when attacking if there is another bond of parent and child category ally attacking in the same turn, which again is very easy to do, because a lot of the strongest units in the game belong to bond of parent and child. When you think about Goku, Vegeta, Trunks, Gohan units, or even Goku and Vegeta units for dual units, very easy to proc that as well. They'll also gain an attack plus 122% when there's a movie boss category enemy, and they'll also gain Key +4, attack plus 122%, and perform a guaranteed crit when there's an enemy whose name includes Frieza, which outside of Movie Edition 2, not too many places you're going to be getting that. But then of course they do have the very strong, or at least back in the day, very strong active skill, which of course removes all the ally status effects and also raises allies attack by 22% for 2 turns, which is very nice when you consider some of the numbers units are doing nowadays, along with this support, and also the support from their super attack, and some other good support units we do have right now, including, well, eventually tomorrow, BROLY, CHEELAI, and Lemo, and then also the likes of Super EZA, Fizz, Kid Buu, just to think of ones that come to the top of my head. But then we have SSBK and SSBE, we have Blue Boys. Of course, we do have to wait a few more days for their EZA, but we might as well go over it. So, once they EZA, All Out Struggle or Join Forces will get Key +3, attack and defense, and also HP plus 170%. 12 key will greatly raise attack and defense by 50% for 1 turn, cause cross damage to the enemy and lower attack and defense. On 18 key will massively raise attack and defense by 100% for 1 turn, cause mega cross damage to the enemy and greatly lower attack and defense. They start the turn with Key +4, attack and defense plus 170. They'll randomly change key spheres of a certain type to rainbow key spheres when there is another superheroes category ally on the team, which is so easy to do, because superheroes is one of the strongest teams in the game, especially after this celebration, and has some crazy units to just add to your team. Even units that are already in the game. Like if we quickly just pull up the category, right? You've got Beast Gohan coming in part 2. You have Carnival LR Gamma 1 and 2 coming in part 2. Orange Piccolo is still one of the strongest units in the game. There's also Carnival LR Gogeta Blue, Sword of Hope Trunks, Vegeta and Trunks. They're almost 2 years old, but they are very good. You have the Year 5 EZAs, Strength LR UI's EZA, and that's only to name a few. So very easy to have a superhero category unit on your team, again, especially once part 2 comes around. They also gain additional Key +2 per rainbow key sphere obtained. They do also gain additional attack and defense plus 7% per key sphere obtained. And again, they are their own orb changer, so you can do it like that. They do have a chance to perform a crit quit plus 7% and damage reduction by 7% and launch an additional attack. There's a 50% chance to become a super attack which is up to 3 additional attacks within a turn per rainbow key sphere obtained, which again, they're their own rainbow orb changer, so that's not difficult to do. And then you can also factor in the dupe system where they can get an additional as well. They then also get an additional attack and defense plus 70% if key is 18 or more, which if they're getting additional key plus 2 and how easy it is to link them, not going to be difficult to get this whatsoever. And they also have damage reduction by 70% when HP is 50% or less and performs a guaranteed crit if key is 24, which is also very, very nice indeed. That's a ton of damage reduction to get, especially because they're not a slot 1 unit, and you're also getting 100% attack and defense on super. Then when you consider all the additionals they can get, that's 50% attack and defense each time as well. This is why their EZA is so strong. They are, just like Broly, absolute monsters. And then when you consider when you pop their active skill, they get key plus 24, which is guarantees this. Yes, they lose a ton of defense, but then you get a ton of attack, and you know you're going to proc that when you're pretty much going for the kill, when you're going for a ton of damage and then moving on. So as I said, some insane EZAs coming with Celebration. Broly, CHEELAI Lemo are one of the strongest EZAs in the game, one of the best supports in the game. And then a few days later we get these guys who are absolute monsters, basically the superclass versions of Broly almost, if you will, just without guaranteed guard. That's how good they are. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. I'll see you in the next video, guys. Take care, have a great rest of your day, and peace.